Thank you. Peace, peace. Islam to you all. So, I'm going to get into Americanized Islam. Americanized Islam. So, we're not talking about Oriental Islam. Okay? So, I've heard over time many Muslims here and there and everywhere, right? Attempting to say that Islam, as propagated by Moorish Americans, is not. They say that it is not Islam. They say that, it is this, it is that. And I would just like to make note first and foremost of what it is that the Moorish Americans are to understand about Islam as it was presented to them, because in all honesty, I do not believe that Moorish Americans understand the Islam given to them, nor the Islam that it came from. And again, this is just my perception, right? A lot of these so-called Moorish Americans, they do not know. They do not know what Islam is. And this is the reason why there are others who are a part of Islam and have their own varied Islamic cultures who sit there and say that Moorish Americans are not true Muslims. Now, I understand why this is said. You've pretty much got a whole bunch of people out here talking about Islam, Islam, Islam. And then they're arguing over whether Muslim is spelled M-U-S-L-I-M or M-O-S-L-E-M. and they're over there. Just all types of things that a Muslim should know, but they don't know. But I'm going to, in a moment, uh, present to the viewers what it is that the Moorish Americans, right, um, should be aware of. I don't believe, in all honesty, that many of the common Muslim Moorish Americans have, have even read their own information. That you've got their leaders, their sheikhs, and stuff like that. And I don't even know if they've read this stuff or have at least comprehended the information. I was on the phone with a good brother yesterday, and we both came to the realization together that a lot of these Moorish Americans out here, they don't comprehend. So when something is read to them or something is said to them, they don't comprehend. They'll take information and they'll do what they think rather than what it says to do. You know, you even have these people out here, these Moors out here, who want to believe that when Noble Drew Ali spoke to these plain, simple-minded people, that in some way, somehow, he wasn't speaking plainly. Oh man, there's layers, and there very well may be layers, right, to the information that he was giving these people. But understand for sure, that he was talking to a people whose state of mind was like that of a child. All right, so let's just keep that in mind. Drew Ali was speaking to people whose mind state was like that of a child. Those people who knew nothing about business. And only those who knew business were put in positions of trustee, over certain business ventures of the organization, right? Give me a second, please. Thank you all for coming as well. I'm not an active member in any Moorish Science Temple of America because, as far as I'm concerned, no Moorish Science Temple of America after 1929 is even operating correctly. But I am a Moorish American. This is my organization. Legacy left to me and all other Moorish Americans by our founding father. All righty. All right. I'm not an Orthodox Muslim, so if you are an Orthodox Muslim and you want to tell me about my habits, worry about your own, right? Worry about your own salvation, all right? I'm perfectly fine. I don't think that Allah is going to, cast me out because I deal with Egyptian customs. All right. I'm going to read two excerpts, right, from the Moorish Guide newspaper. I thought that said something important, but I'm going to read from the Moorish Guide newspaper, right? First, I'm going to read what Islam is, right? So this is how Islam was presented to the Moorish Americans, okay? mark this other one. All right, so this is what Islam, this is how Islam has been presented to the Moorish American. Now, obviously, or maybe it's not as obvious to you all, there is a way of life being taught to a people who currently at that time, they had no clue about it, but it's being brought to their attention that inherently this has always been their ancestors' culture, right? So Islam is being presented to a people, to Muslims who did not know that they were Muslim, if you could think of it that way. All right. It says, what is Islam? Islam is a very simple faith. It requires man to recognize his duties toward God Allah, his creator, and to his fellow creatures. It teaches the supreme duty of living at peace with one's surroundings. It is preeminently the religion of peace. The very name Islam means peace. The goal of a man's life, according to Islam, is peace with everything. Peace with Allah and peace with man. The Quran, the holy book of Islam, tells us that the final abode, here we go. The Quran, the holy book of Islam, tells us that the final abode of man is the house of peace, Beit al-Islam. Beit al-Islam, okay, Beit al-Salam, where no vain word or sinful discourse will be heard. The holy and divine prophet, Noble Drew Ali, says that a follower of Islam, in the true sense of the word, is one whose hands, tongue, and thoughts do not bring harm to anyone else. That sounds like a description of equity, if you don't mind me saying, right? It goes on to say, the object of man's life, according to Islam, is its complete unfoldment or coming out. As a flower, right? When a flower blooms, it's from seed, it grows up, right? It gets leaves, a stem, a bud, and then it opens full out into being what it is that it has always been, right? So the object of man's life, according to Islam, is its complete unfoldment, man becoming that which he or she is truly destined to become. Islam teaches that man is born with unlimited capacities for progress. Islam does not support the idea that man was born in sin. Sin is debt. It teaches that everyone has within him the seed of perfect development, and it rests solely with himself to make or to mar his own fortune. Right, it has nothing to hide whatsoever. It says the cardinal, so foundational, the cardinal doctrine of Islam is the unity of the Father, Allah. Let me stop right there, right? I want to put it on the board so that people see it, right? We're not speaking in terms of being mushrikun, mushrikeen, right? When we Moorish Americans identify Allah as Al-Abba, as the Father, right? We must take into account, again, that these Muslims here in America who did not know that they were Muslims, right, have been given a concept of fatherhood through Christianity, right? And it is not to say that Allah is not the Father, but allow for me. When the Moorish Americans identify Allah as Father God, you will hear an outcry by most extreme Muslims, conservative Muslims, and the like, right? The term father is synonymous with grantor, trustor, settlor, right? Creator, khalik, right? Creator of trust. So when Moorish Americans identify Allah as Father God, this is what is to be understood within our diaspora. Okay. Not to say that we think that Allah is a man separate from ourselves, because we found that Allah is within us all. But nonetheless, it says the cardinal doctrine of Islam is the unity, Tawheed, right, of the Father Allah. We believe in one God, Allah, who is all God, or governing, because God really just means governing, right? All merciful and all powerful. Allah is perfect and holy. Holy means complete, perfect, right? All wise, all knowing, and always truthful, right? Al-hikmah, al-ilm, al-alam, wal-haqq. Okay. These are just some of his great attributes so far as we can understand. All right. It says, he, meaning Allah, the Father, or the nurturer in us, or the provider in us, pardon so. He is free from all defects, holy, again, complete, and transcendent, meaning that you cannot, no one thing that you point at, you say, hey, that's Allah. Allah transcends, it goes beyond what the finite comprehension can develop, all right? It says he is free from all defects, holy and transcendent. He is personal to us insofar as we see his attributes working for us and in us. Okay? But he is nevertheless impersonal. Because Allah is infinite, perfect, and holy, we do not believe that death, decay, or sleep would ever overtake Allah. Neither do we believe that Allah is just a helplessly inactive and inert force. Nothing happens without his knowledge and his will. He neither begets, nor is he begotten, because these are the trails, I believe these are the trials of frail and weak humanity. The unity of Allah, the taqwa, in the Tawheed Allah, Tawheed, the oneness, right? The unity of Allah is the first and foremost pillar of Islam, and every other belief hangs upon it. So even though we call Allah the Father, right? it has been told to the Moorish Americans, specifically pertaining to Islam, that Allah neither begets nor was Allah begotten. So again, this father concept is not one to be taken as literal. It is figurative. All right? Allah does not beget, meaning he, nor is he begotten. So when we use certain terms like Father God, right? He, any of these human qualities, it's because that is the finite line that we can come up to in comprehension. All right, it's how we identify ours, because the attributes and the qualities work through and in us. This is how we're able to come to Allah, if you will, conceptual, right? So FYI, okie dokie. So when we read chapter 1 of the Circle 7, we see that Allah, Yahuwah, right? He threw forth his seed. Yahuwah literally means from the masculine sense, right? Yahuwah literally means to ejaculate. Go look that up. All of y'all talking about Yahuwah. You wonder why there are obelisk worship and phallic worship. Yahuwah literally means to bring forth, as if you are ejaculating. Right? Yahuwah or Yahoo. Anyway, I'm getting too far. All right, so now we have been given the basic concept of universal Islam, how Islam is seen universal, okay, as it was given, with the exception of it saying Father in that whole statement that I just read. Outside of that, right, everything else complies with what we know as Oriental Islam. Now I'm going to read to you what Noble Drew Ali presents to the people, right, and where he is Americanizing Islam. He is Americanizing Islam. This is entitled Masterpiece of Religious Literature, Secrets of Other Creeds Revealed, right? It says, the Prophet, Noble Drew Ali, has spent many hours preparing the latest edition of the Quran, which will be a masterpiece of religious literature. To Americanize the Oriental idea of Islam involves many changes that are more or less negative to the main purpose of the Islamic religion. So just with that statement, Drew Ali is already telling us that he is aware that the way he's going to propagate Islam in America, according to the minds of the people to raise them up, is more or less negative according to how things are interpreted in Oriental Islam. So he's already aware that some people may say this is shirk, this is bid'ah, right? This is from the Dajjal, all of that extra shit. He's already aware that some may not take this information the way he's Americanizing it for his people, right, to be authentic. He's already letting us know that he's aware because of the changes that he's about to make in the concepts in order to bring his people, right, who have mental slavery, in order to bring them out of mental slavery, right, he has to go in what they're dealing with and bring them out that way. Such changes are carefully considered with the idea to avoid changing the complexion of the original text. So he's telling you he's already aware of the changes that it's going to take. Okay? He says the philosophy of the ancient prophets is the main initiative in the compilation of the Quran. No thoughts of propaganda enter this work. So he's telling you off rip, I'm not doing this in order to sway the people to follow me and, do some outrageous, egregious shit in the name of Islam, like many people do. Right? He's already, again, his transparency is what he's dealing with. He's being very transparent. All right. He says, no thoughts of propaganda enter this work, as has been the case of many former religious works, such as the Bible and other books of creed. Right? Now, I'm going to just step out there on the line and say, if he did not feel like the Quran of Arabia was tampered with, he would have given us the Quran of Arabia, but he felt it necessary because other books of creed have been tampered with. He felt it necessary to bring information in and present it to his people as a Quran. Quran means a recitation or a proclamation, a thing made known. We know this particularly in mainstream Islam, the very first command, if you will, from to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, from Jibril alayhi salam, was Iqra. Iqra. And Iqra, from the root Iqra, we get Quran. Okay? So it's a command. Right? The sole purpose of the Prophet in giving such a message to the world is to save fallen humanity. So this is for everybody. This is not just for Moorish Americans. This is for everybody. Okay? When a compiler attempts... Shit. That's what I get. All right. Back to it then. On my shit. When a compiler attempts to inject propaganda into a work of this kind, there arises a need to cover the true text in order in order to prevent a clash with the truth and ideas involved in such propaganda. Former works of this kind have either hindered or helped the nations proportionately to the adherence to the truth as to the original purpose of keeping the ignorant in such a state. It is hard to resist the temptation to use this medium for gain, as we see a lot of these Moorish Americans out here are using this medium, using his name, using Islam, and then just running left with it. All right? They're out here, all types of what they call them splinter cells and factions and fractioning off sects, deviating sects, right? Because everybody wants to be the prophet behind the prophet. They want to be the voice behind the prophet. All right, pardon. Hence, many of the former treaties on works of this kind have been the means to foster ideas of the unscrupulous, wherein they desire to use religious influence for their own personal gain. So he's foretelling, he's forewarning, he's letting it be. He's very transparent. He's telling you, I'm not doing this for that reason at all. I'm aware of people doing things like this for that reason. I'm not here to do that. That's what he's explaining. The many secrets known to the prophet that could be used for the salvation of the nation were either left out or colored to an extent that their meaning was made void. Such is not the case with this edition of the Quran. Okay. All the secrets of the ages known to man are put into this work. The secrets known only to the magistrates, etc. Right? All the secrets of the ages known to man are put into this work. The secrets known only to the magi are here revealed. The reading of the stars, the interpretation of marriage relations, the understanding of the span of life, and other such as has been kept from the Occidental world are here in this book boldly brought out. Boldly, meaning all in your face, can't miss it. As plain as it can be. None of that boogie woogie shit. None of that, it's going to go over your head. No, none of that. 1 + 1 = 2. Boldly. You see what I'm saying? Boldly brought out. It says the Quran, Americanized as it will be, can be bought in a few weeks. It will be sent to all governors of the organization. Okay? So Drew Ali has just let it be known what Islam is and why he felt it necessary to Americanize it, knowing that people may not receive it well. But those who understand the true core of, or the foundation, those who can recognize the message of Tawheed, right? If nothing else, they would be able to see that and take that and understand that this is not some perversion of al-Islamiyya. This is not a perversion of al-Islamiyya. All right, this is an unfolding given to people who do not know Islam, who feel as though they know what they know, though they don't know what it is that they think they know, meaning the concepts of Christianity. He's bringing them out of that through that. He's going to give these Christian-minded people, right, concepts that they can look at in the Bible, and they can also see this information in the Quran of Arabia. And he's giving it to them in their own version according to their own mental capacity. What up, Yoder? Right? So I would like to, yes, I'm just going to, because again, when I speak, I'm usually, in my mind, I'm not speaking to those who are Moorish Americans. I'm speaking to every other people who are not identifying as Moorish Americans in order for them to be able to see into what it is that the Moorish Americans are supposed to be living, right? So just understand that, right? Myself as a Muslim and as a Moorish American, as a true Moor, right? I'm talking to all of you who are not Moors so that y'all can know what it is that the Moors are really supposed to be on. So when you see them out here crashing the fuck out, you understand that these do not represent the whole. Okay? All right, so yes. So now I'm going to read to you the very first chapter of this Holy Quran, right? That noble Drew Ali, American. I know his sources, and I personally can understand and relate to why he brought it in this manner and in this way, right? But I'm going to read this to you all so that we can see what exactly it is that he's saying that more or less negatively impacts the concept of Islam, right? Chapter 1, the creation and fall of man. Okay? It says, time never was when man was not. There was never a time when the concept of when the mind did not exist. Time never was when man was not. If life of man at any time began, a time would come when it would end. So man, whatever man is eternal. So this is the first thing that mainstream or orthodox Muslims will say, oh, that's not real Islam. Oh, that's shirk. We're not here to talk about that. There are no intentions for corruption or perversion in any of the information that is being presented. Okay? We're not out here with that shirk and that bid'ah. We're not out here with that. All right? Just a concept for us to catch on to. Nonetheless, it says the thoughts of Allah cannot be circumscribed. So now here we find out that whatever man is a thought of Allah. No, excuse me, no finite mind, so no physical man can comprehend the things infinite. From a physical conception, you will not be able to understand, right, that which is beyond, right? Allah is, what did it say? Allah was transcendent, right? Anyway, all finite things will cease to be because there was a time when they were not. It says the bodies and the souls of men. The bodies, that's my physical, that's the matter, that's the mother, that's the material, right? It says the bodies and the souls of men are finite things, and they will change. Yea, from the finite point of view, a time will come when they will be no more. So whatever the physical body is and whatever the soul is, which is man's lower consciousness, right? They have a beginning, so they have an end. Right? Not even a circle, it's a straight line from one point to another point. It's not cyclical. Okay? Listen here though. But man himself, right, is not the body, nor is man the soul. Now, whatever man is does not pass away. Okay. It says that he is a spirit and a part of Allah. So for those of us who conceptually thought that the spirit and the soul were the same, we are now realizing, at least through this information, that they are not. And mind you, this is a three-part thing, right? The body, the soul, and the spirit. Two of these things pass away. One of these things don't pass away. It was there before the body and the soul, and it will be there after the body and the soul. All right. Creative fate gave to man. Creative fate. Imagination. Creative fate gave to man, to spirit man, specifically, spirit man, a soul that he might function on the plane of soul. So spirit man he got the consciousness that's according to this 3D. Put it that way. Keep it up. Try to keep it real plain. Spirit man was given a mind, right, in order to comprehend things on the finite physical plane. That's your soul. That's not your spirit. That's your soul. Okay? And mind you, okay, no, I didn't say it. All right. It says, also gave him a body of the flesh, right? That he might function on the plane of things made manifest. So right now there are two planes, right? Or dimensions, if for those of you who may need that extra, right, connection. There are two dimensions right now, right, where mankind somehow is meeting in the middle. There's a soul plane and a flesh plane. Why did creative fate give to spirit man a soul that he might function on the plane of soul? Why did creative fate give to soul a body of the flesh that he might function on the plane of things made manifest? So whatever creative fate is, gave this to you. All right, this is what was given to us. And we're learning about Allah and the creation and the fall of whatever man is, right? It says, "Hear now, ye dominions, all of ye dominions, powers and thrones." So all of the governments of the world, if you will. All right, all of those conscious and competent minds. Listen the fuck up, is what's being said here, right? "Hear now, ye cherubim, ye seraphim, ye angels, and ye men." All right. "Hear now, O protoplast, and earth, and plants, and beasts. Hear now, ye creeping things of earth." You do know that a serpent is a creeping thing. Nonetheless, "Hear now, ye creeping things of earth, ye fish that swim, ye birds that fly." Right? It has that whole religious flair that a lot of us are brought up in. I can't stand it personally, but I get it. So I'll give it to you as it is here, right? "Hear now, ye winds that blow, ye thunders and ye lightnings of the sky. Hear now, ye spirits of the fire, water, earth, and air." Catch that? Anywho, "Hear now, O everything that is, or was, or evermore will be." So he just told you the holy breath. Listen, he's even telling the holy breath to listen. Okay? He's even telling the truth. Listen. "For wisdom speaks from out the highest plane of spirit life. Man is a thought of all law. All thoughts of all law are infinite. All thoughts of all law are infinite. They are not measured up by time. For things that are concerned with time begin and end. Now, we just learned that in the beginning, right? So that's a reiteration. All right, coolio. The thoughts of a law are the everlasting of the past unto the never-ending days to come. And so is man, spirit man. So whatever our law is, right, manifests through man and in man as man. And so as a law, as long as the concept of God, Allah, Yahuwah, whatever the case may be, right? As long as that concept lives, man cannot die. Okay. Oh, damn, did I? Oh, yeah, I did throw that, but all right, whatever. The thoughts of Allah are the everlasting of the past into the never-ending days to come. And so is man, the spirit man. It says, but man, like every other thought of Allah, was but a seed. But a seed. Remember, we were just talking about unfolding, right? And seeds unfold, don't they? All right, so let's conceptually look at nature, right, and see some examples in nature that we can conceptually apply to ourselves, right? Because that's how we learn, or at least that's how Drew Ali was getting us to look at nature, and you'll see it all. Everything that you need to see and know, you'll see it out there in the world. And once you can apply it to yourself, you'll know that it is true. All right, coolio. It says, but man, like every other thought of Allah, was but a seed that held deep within itself all the potencies of Allah. Just as the seed of any plant on earth holds deep within itself the attributes of every part of that special plant. So everything that Allah is, was, or evermore to be, that exists in man. I just gave you Allah, by the way. All right. So spirit man, as seed of Allah, held deep within himself, so spirit man, as seed of Allah, held deep within himself the attributes of every part of God. The attributes, the quality, the character, the standard, everything that God is, government, governing mind, right? Spirit man, so is man. Okay. Now, seed are perfect, yes. As perfect as the source from which they come. The seed is perfect. Plant it. Plant the seed. It's going to grow. It's going to turn into something else. But the seed itself, perfect. Holy. Another word for perfect is holy. All right. It says, now the seed are perfect, yea, as perfect as the source from which they come. But they, meaning the seed, are not unfolded into life made manifest. So the seed is inside. This is not the seed that you see, because this is on the outside. This is what the seed became in the flesh. You dig? All right. This is an image of the seed. This is not the seed. This is an appearance. That's what I wanted to say. For my law language people who can really catch on, and my trust language people. This is an appearance. All right. It says the child is as perfect as the mother is. The child is not a seed. The child is not the seed. The child is what manifested from the seed. Remember, the father plants the seed into the mother's womb who already has the flesh waiting for the seed. The seed is as perfect as the father is. The child is as perfect as the mother is. Just catch that. Polarities. Polarities, my people. Okay? Polarities. Secondary but necessary, as the 5% nation speaks of to the woman. Secondary but necessary. Anywho. So man, the seed must be deep planted in a soil that he might grow, unfold, as does the bud unfold to show the flower. Right? Islam. Oh, that's somebody was right. All right. The human seed that came forth from the heart of Allah, Yahweh. All right. The human seed that came forth from the heart of Allah was foreordained to be the Lord, Rabbi, of the plane of soul and of the things made manifest. So Allah, the husbandman, for all my Mason, for all my sons of a widow Moors, smack you in your face, because Allah is the husbandman. So there is no widow. Okay? There's no widow in Islam. Stop that shit. All right? Anywho, getting back to it. So Allah, the husbandman of everything that is, threw forth his human seed into the soil of soul. Did he do? Yes, he did. Threw forth. Yahoo, this is Yahuwah. Right? Yahoo. All right? Not even trying to be funny. But Yahuwah literally means to bust one, rub one out. That's the concept. Planting the seed into soil. What are we talking about? Input, output. We're talking about intercourse, which is the nature of reality. All right. It says, so Allah, the husbandman of everything that is, threw forth his human seed, which came from his heart, by the way, his chakra, his good green heart, right, into the plane of soul, into the soil of soul. And then it grew apace. And then man became a living soul. And he became the Lord of all the kingdom of the soul. So the universe burst forth, creating infinite possibility. One of the possibilities became a probability, right? It became that which it was going to be, right? And with that consciousness, because we're talking about soul is consciousness, right? On the lower level. Once it became aware, it became Lord. What is Lord? A governor. What is God? The governor of all governors, right? The King of kings, the Lord of lords. All right. The idea of ideas, Yes, the rootless root, the causeless cause, right? All right. Hark now, let every creature hear. The plane of soul is but the ether of the spirit plane. So there's an ethereal presence on the spirit plane, and the soul plane, right? The soul plane is just an ether of the spirit plane vibrating not so fast. So everything's vibrating. For all my hermetic principles, we already did oneness, right? The all is mind, all is mental, right? All right, and now we're getting to the next one, right? Where where things vibrate. For my hermeticists, if you can comprehend, this is what we're also looking at, all right? Anywho, all right. He says, and in the slower rhythm of this plane, the essences of life are manifest. The essences, touch, feel, smell, the essences, right? So on the soul plane, spirit plane, and physical plane, you can touch, taste, smell, hear. You can observe. You can be aware of certain things, right? Anywho. It says the perfumes and the odors, the true sensations, and the all of love are manifest. And the soul attributes became a body. Beautiful. The attributes, the qualities. The nature of the soul became physical. A multitude of lessons man must learn upon the plane of soul. Awareness. And here he tarries many ages until his lessons are all learned. Upon the boundary, so there's a boundary, right? So upon the boundary of the plane of soul, the ether began to vibrate slower still. And then the essences took on a final garb. The perfumes and the odors and all the true sensations, as well as the all of love, were now clothed in flesh. Did y'all catch that? There's a whole transformation going on. There's a whole process. There's a whole birthing going on. To me, this sounds like what happens when you plant a child or you plant any seed, right? And these are the changes that they go through in order to come out and be that which they are. Okay. It says, perfected man must pass through all the ways of life. And so a carnal, carnal, the meat, the physical, right? The 3D, right? And so a carnal nature was full manifest, a nature that sprang forth from fleshy things. Mind you, this is still yourself, right? It says, without a foe, right, or an adversary, right, or shaitan, because shaitan is just an adversary, right? It's another. It's like you're looking in the mirror at yourself. Okay, all right. It says, and so without a foe, a soldier never knows his strength. And thought, because remember, that's all we're talking about is thought, right? We're the thoughts of Allah, right? And thought must be, where's you at? And thought must be developed by the exercise of strength. Okay? And so this carnal nature, what we call the lower self, which some of us can conceptually look at and say this is the Social Security account, the minority, account, right? The dependent, whatever you want to call it, any plane, right? Because all of these layer over one another. Nonetheless, let's get to it. All right. It says and so this carnal nature soon became a foe that man must fight, that he might be the strength of Allah made manifest. Because you're overcoming, you're getting to the reality of it all. That the soul and the physical, right? These things, they come and they go. You're starting to realize that they're just things you put on. They're just disguises. They're just persons. Okay. All right. And so this carnal nature soon became a foe that man must fight, that he might be the strength of Allah made manifest. Let everything stand still and hear. Listen. Man is the Lord of all the plane of manifest, of protoplast, of mineral, of plant, and of beast. So that means that no grand sheik has the authority, right, to ordain you. You're already ordained once you're aware. This is the religion. This is your religious freedom. So understand what's being told. Allah already deemed you the Lord, the governor. You're already the governor. You don't need no more. I'm getting beside myself. It says, but he gave up his birthrights. So you already own the gold, the silver, and the commerce. But you gave up your national citizenship, which is your birthright. Right? You fell into the game. You fell into the beginning and ending of things, and you lost sight of the eternal reality. That none of that shit. Let me just read through this, man. I just keep getting inspired to go, and I'm not even trying to get that up to y'all right now. It says, but man will regain his lost estate. So man lost his estate. This is called the creation and fall of man. Man lost his estate. That's plain, right? So we're talking about estates now, right? Man lost his estate. Plain, right? I got to sit there and debate on, he meant figuratively or no. So mankind lost his estate, his nationality, right? His heritage, right? But, excuse me, but he gave up his birthrights just to gratify his lower self. But man will regain his lost estate, his heritage, but he must do it in a conflict that cannot be told in words. Mankind knows not by being told. He got to go out there and experience. He got to see it. He has to get all of the sensations. He has to know what he needs to know. Mankind can't learn how to escape a traffic violation by just what some niggas is telling them. Conceptually. You got to know what's being talked about. You got to know. You have to be aware. You have to be educated. You have to be educated. You have to be a master mind. Qualified, competent mind. All right. Yes, man must suffer trials and temptations manyfold. But let him know that cherubim and seraphim that rule the stations of the sun. So whatever cherubim and seraphim are, right? They rule the stations of your consciousness, your soul, your awareness. All right? These are your jinni. But we ain't going to get into all that. These are your own personal thoughts that go round and round like a carousel. All right? Until you grab hold of one or the other. Either you're going to do, what did my son say? Either you're going to feed into your intrusive thoughts, or you're going to wait a moment and think first. Nonetheless. But let him know that cherubim and seraphim that rule the stations of the sun and spirit of the mighty Allah, who rule the solar stars, know that they are his protectors and his guide. Just want to point out something. Moorish American prayer says that Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation. Now we see that it's the seraphim and the cherubim who do the work or the bidding. Right? Because they're here to, keep. All right. It says, let me read that part again. But let him know that cherubim and seraphim that rule the stations of the sun and spirit. So they rule the stations of the sun and the spirit of the mighty Allah, who rule the solar stars. They are his protectors. So all three, they are his protectors and his guide, and they will lead to victory. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation. Victory. By night and by day, in the public and in the private. Or more noticeably, in the private and in the public. By night and by day. Anywho, it says, and they will lead to victory. It says, man will be fully saved, redeemed. Redeeming is